ProSmoke barbecue here on a very cold Saturday morning, about -2 at the moment. I wanted to do a series of videos on super basic fire management, a method that we use that I don't think has actually been sort of shown online that much. There's obviously loads of fire management videos you can watch, but I wanted to upload one where it's for people that don't even know how to start a fire. We've got a lot of customers that are new to offset cooking, maybe lived in London all their life and never had to start a fire, which is fine. So this is going to be a video for our customers on how to manage a fire in a small offset, and just nothing too complicated. I just want to keep it super simple and show you how we manage a fire in a small offset like this. This is a little 16-inch black fire that we run here at ProSmoke, the smallest of our cookers, our entry-level offset. So I'm just going to sort of ramble as per normal on how we run the fire in this, keep it nice and easy, and it's just not too much hassle really. So as you can see in the firebox here, I've just done a log cabin style fire setup. So it's basically at the bottom you got 2 logs this way and then another 2 that way. Maybe, what do we got? 1, 2, 3 stacks high with a big one on the top. I tend to use all my sort of ratty, weird shaped logs to start the fire, like the really big ones like this that are all a bit knotty and aren't going to burn great if we try and add them in halfway through the cook. We'll get that going. Our fire starters we use for offsets, one of those will get your fire going, but I'm going to use 2 today because it's a bit colder. I want to get going a bit quicker. These are wax dip hardwood shavings that we sell, and we do those in various shapes. Yeah, the eco logs. So I'll get this lit, and then I'll talk to you about the setup that we got going on in the black fire. That didn't take long to get going. This is some of our seasoned oak wood that I'm using. We sell wood in 10-inch and 16-inch splits. Gets going really quick, really nice. So those fire starters have got that fire going. First things first, everything open. You want as much air to that fire as possible because we want to burn this chunk of logs, this whole stack of logs, down into a nice hot coal bed. You can see this cooker runs a fire grate. So what we're doing is we're getting a lot of airflow underneath the fire there. You can run the fire on the base of the cooker, and that's a video for another time. And there's other channels that will do a really good job in explaining how you run the fire off the bottom. It is a more advanced method, but it's down to preference really. Today we'll just concentrate on really basic fire management, as little intervention as possible, and as steady temps, the most steady temps we can sort of get. On small offsets we run a baffle stone like this. It's a ceramic heat stone. The idea is we want to send the heat into the cook chamber and then up and over the food, so we get a top down heat rather than a bottom up heat, simply because we haven't got a lot of volume in this cooker. We haven't got a lot of volume to disperse all of that heat through the chamber. If it was coming in from bottom up, you're probably going to find we're going to overshoot our temps in this chamber quite a lot. Now we can run it without that baffle, no problems, but we've just got to be a bit more careful about how we draw the air through the smoker, which again I'll show you in the videos that follow how we do that. But for now, what we like to do on these is, because we like to run a really strong fire, so we haven't got to keep putting logs on this every 20 minutes. We want to try and extend this to 45 minutes at a time. We want to divert the heat up and over, and that's why on our cactus jacks the chimneys are mounted there in the top of the cook chamber, because we can even the temps in here. We can eliminate cold spots down on the left here, all by manipulating the valve on the top of the chimney stack. So we by default want to bring all that heat up into the top of the cook chamber, and because it's such a small volume cook chamber, we're not going to get any cool spots in here. We're going to get perfect cooking temps all the way through. If the chimney was mounted grate level, which is obviously very popular, we'd want it on a bigger cooker with more volume to play with. On a small cooker like this, a chimney down that low, you're going to be drawing the heat along grate level, and because it's such a small cooker from left to right, it's not going to give that air chance to cool down unless you're very skillful with the way that you manage the fire. And for people that are coming to offset smoking from Komodo Joes or kettle barbecues, we just want to make this as simple as possible. So that's why we choose this airflow pattern, which is up and over the food. I mean, you can see the smoke coming into the cook chamber a bit now, and it will naturally take that kind of pattern. It'll hit that baffle, go straight up into the top of the cook chamber and spin all the way along. And that'll be really easy to manage the fire. So what we're going to do is going to take about probably about 45 minutes to get this coal bed where we want it before we start adding things to it and shutting things down. But I'll pick it back up once we're a bit further along. The tin foil in the bottom here is just for easy cleanup, so you can ignore that. And we'll start shutting it down and managing the fire in the next section. So I shut everything down about 10 minutes ago. Gave this coal bed a bit of a flatten, and you can see even with that top door open and it being -2 out here still, we can still get about 120 degrees in the cook chamber. So you can see from that we're getting a good draw through the smoker. If you've got quite a lot of wood laying around, you could just keep chucking wood in the firebox like this, keeping the lid open and rocking that 120 all day. Because what it's doing is, obviously this chimney is only going to pull a certain volume of air through, and with that much fire in the firebox, with that fully open, that's going to settle you in about 120, between 120 and 140. So that is the starting of kind of really easy fire management. Just chuck the log straight in there and keep that open. We'll see where it settles in once I put a few more logs in, because what I want to do is build this coal bed again with roughly the same amount of logs, just so I've got lots and lots of embers to work with for the day. So that's just the first step. You could put the food on now and you're good to go. You're good to start cooking now if you want. But like I say, this top fire door can stay open. Yeah, you're losing quite a lot of heat out of there, but it's still drawing what it needs to keep that full. What this also does is it allows you to put really big splits on from here, because a lot of the dirty smoke and that instant searing heat you're going to get is going to go out the top of the cook, out the top of the firebox there. So I'll put some more splits on, keep the top door open for now, and show you sort of how the temperatures change. But this method here does keep it really, really steady, because you've got that big area that the heat can escape. You can put a really big log on and it's not going to spike the temperature in the main cook chamber, because that chimney is only pulling a set volume of air through that cook chamber. And that's the way we've had them balanced, because where these are made in Italy and ran through all through Europe, particularly Germany, these are very popular. This method is their chosen method. On a day like this, they would run this wide open like this all day, because what they're doing is they'll put a grill grate in here, and throughout the day they'll be chucking food on while they're smoking in the cook chamber. They'll be using this as a fire pit, so everyone can stand around and stay warm while you're still cooking in the main chamber. So this is a method, whenever you've got a top fire door like that, this is a method to sort of consider. It gives you quite a lot of flexibility and very, very stable temperatures in the cook chamber, because you're not shutting this down, increasing the draft and then overshooting your temperatures in the main fire in the main cook chamber. So that's step one. We will look at managing the fire further in the next video. Apologies if the audio all of a sudden has gone loud on your TV. I've just moved to a better speaker, better microphone. So next step is, again, chuck some really big odd shaped logs that I've got laying around on. Obviously this fire would be way too big if we had that top door closed. So again, I've got a lot of wood laying around, so I'm just going to keep chucking all the odd bits that I've got. Plus it's also quite nice to stand over this and stay warm while it's still -2. But what I've done here is I've loaded up this fire quite high now for the size of smoke that this is, just to demonstrate that this chimney is still only pulling that set volume of air through. I did just lift the lid to see, kind of just check the baffle stone was still in place, because I've moved the cooker around, so it did settle down a bit, but we're straight back up to the sort of the 120 mark on there. Once it bounces back, we're probably going to be about 130, 140 again. So it really doesn't sort of get any more complicated than that. Obviously, like I said, this is going to use a bit more wood, and the bigger we build that fire, we might find we've got to just choke the chimney back a little bit, because I've got this wide open at the moment. So if all of a sudden this shot up to 160, I'd choke that back about a quarter, and then that would reduce the volume, create a bit more turbulence in the cook chamber as that smoke is going up through that chimney, hitting that stopper, and that creates loads of turbulence, and that technique will also even out any hot or cold spots that you've got in the cook chamber. But for now, to be honest, because it's so cold out here, that looks about the right sort of fire for wide open chimney for this temperature. This, as you go through the year and the temperature changes, you're obviously going to have to adjust how you do things. But these smokers are all built the same, so they're only ever going to take that set amount of volume that the chimney is going to draw through the cooker, because obviously hot air is going in, getting drawn along, and then out. The other thing, I'm going to lay some chicken wings out across the grates so we can see how evenly the heat is distributed inside. So we'll do that in a bit, but for now I just want to build this big fire up that you can see here. I've made a note of when all those logs went on, and I'll let you know how long it gave me before I had to come back out and manage the fire, because we can get really long refill times with this method. I could put another 2 or 3 logs on that, make a really nice big fire, choke the chimney back a bit, and maybe get a good hour and a half, 2 hours. But for now, we just won't get too crazy. We'll keep it quite steady and see where we land on the time for this size fire. And then later on we'll start shutting the fire door down, and I'll show you some other methods. So we got a little bit distracted this end. The shop got a bit busy, so what I did is I ran out and just put on the last of our odd shaped wood that we've got. The last refuel lasted about half an hour, so that's pretty good going considering the temperature out here. This will be the sort of last video we'll do with the top open like this. I'm going to lay some chicken wings across the grate surface so you can see how even the temps run using this method. Although it's pretty convenient, this method, it isn't perfect. You're getting quite low convection in the cook chamber here, because of the draw is not as quick when you've got this top door open. So although you can roast, you're not going to be rendering briskets down very quickly using this method. So what I'll do is I'll get the top down, and then we'll look at the other method in the following video. So picking this video up a little bit later than what I wanted. We're quite busy at the shop, so running the fire the whole time with the top firebox door open. We've had a really even cook here. So all I did is I spread the chicken wings from left to right, and if we look at the readings on here, so you've got, these will be a little bit hotter. This is after about an hour and a half running at about 250 Fahrenheit. That one's 134. And then opposite end, that one there is 129 Fahrenheit. So that is not bad. 134 this end, 129 this end. That's cooked super even with this baffle plate on here. Yeah, what we'll do now is I'll shut the lid, crank up the temperature just to finish them off. But that's a super easy way of running it offset and keeping really even temps left to right. So I'll get the lid shut, crank up the temperature to finish them off, and we'll see again if they finish on time, left to right, with higher temperature. Just pick this video back up. I'm not quite sure how this is all going to come out when I chop the videos together, but hopefully it's not been too convoluted. It's been quite busy here, so it might be that we'll need to do something in the future. But yeah, just ran it with the fire door down, maximum flow, just to push that chicken over, get a bit more crisp on the skin, and we should be nearly done. So what we can see from this is obviously that higher flow, that higher convections, really giving this wing skin what it needed. It's cooked really evenly. If we just temp check this one right at the front here, we're currently sitting at 160, 170, and then this one right at the very back, that is at 158. Back corner there, let's try and see that, 152, and in the middle we're at 162. So that's created a really even cook left to right, and that's all because of that baffle stone that's sending the heat up into the top of the cook chamber and all the way along. So really pleased with that, and that's really probably the simplest way that you can manage a fire. Keep this open for as long as possible, really. Build a big fire, shut it down when you need a little bit more heat in there, run the baffle stone for even temps, and that's pretty easy. So that was on the little black fire 16 that we got here. Same applies to all the cactus jacks. We'll do more advanced fire management videos in the future, but I just wanted to get this one out there so you can see the absolute easiest way of cooking on an offset, keeping your temperatures even and keeping everything pretty calm in there. So as we go forward, things hopefully, videos will get better, and we'll have demos at our shop here in Banbury in Oxfordshire, so you can come and see all this in action and have a go yourself. So that's ProSmoke, bbq.co.uk.